Uju, you know, we've talked about many things today. And while you're obviously an expert on Africa, you also follow trends in the West very carefully, including in Canada. What advice would you have for us if we are to get our aid onto a better track? If we're to get our aid onto a track that actually helps people in Africa and aims to end African dependence on aid? What should we be doing?
I'm so grateful, David, for this question, because it really will give me an opportunity right now to appeal to the public and the Canadian taxpayers who are people of goodwill, who are people who genuinely just want to see good done, who are not in any way more interested in ideology than the well-being of people in different parts of Africa. I would like to suggest that the Canadian taxpayers should pay more attention to exactly what the government is doing. You should be asking more of your government. You should be asking for more transparency when billions of dollars are concerned being spent under the umbrella of foreign aid. I think that the government owes the people an explanation as to how that money is being spent, where it's being spent, and the outcome of it. The separation that we normally get is the fact that when the money leaves the Western donors, the shores of the Western donor, it goes to Africa, and nobody on the Western side knows exactly what has happened to the money. So there's a huge divide, and nobody, takes the time to see exactly where that money ends up. The Canadian public should be asking their governments about aid, foreign aid, what is going on. You should be asking about what the Africans are doing with the money, how the Africans are receiving this money, how the people are being affected by it, if women's lives are being destroyed, if families are being destroyed, if marriages are being affected, simply for the fact that a Western donor has come into that community and they are infusing money where the people have not asked. I think that people should talk to their members of parliament, if possible, and put some pressure upon the members of parliament to question the Canadian government and the Canadian current administration as to what they are doing, how they are doing it. I had watched some kind of exchange that happened in the Canadian Parliament a while back, where an MP was asking this kind of question about Marie Stopes, for example, and what happened with the way the Canadian government was funding this organization that has had so many scandals. And it was a shock to me as an African how condescending the foreign minister, the Canadian foreign minister, was towards this member of parliament. I think that more people should be asking the same question, and I thought that this MP had it right and was on the right track to ask these very targeted questions as to the fact that if an organization has had scandals, and if an organization has been suspended in some African country, or they're being accused of illegal abortion or some illegal activities, then the Canadians must stop funding that organization. There should be transparency. There should be accountability. The Canadians should be asking and following the money to where it's going, because only then can it really affect in a positive way the people it's being sent to. Only then can you pick out the problems, and only then would you be that Canada and the donor who is listening to people, just as he said at the beginning, who listens to people, who is humble, and who is more interested in a transitional kind of program where Canada does the aid and leaves the way so that these people can thrive. I really appeal to the Canadians to do better with aid, because you're already being so generous. It would be a shame if your generosity is not really getting to the point of improving lives, but rather harming lives in the different parts of the world. You should do better. You should demand more from your government and the foreign aid programs that they have in place.